I'm kind of curious on the construction front, both for you, Danny, and Nathan, and just some of your thoughts in terms of what are you guys seeing in some of the areas you're working? Both, are you having any challenges with any of the municipalities being able to give you permits because maybe the office is closed or they're working remote and they're not used to that? Subs that you guys work with and manage that are maybe having some kind of challenge with one thing or another. I'm just kind of curious to your thoughts there, maybe both in what is already happening or maybe what might be keeping you up at night.
I'll jump in. We have had some issues with different municipalities actually asking us to not work in the area because they don't have the staff there if we do damage something to make the repairs. We've had a couple of municipalities tell us that if we did damage something, the repairs would be on us. So we've had to make those decisions on whether or not we're actually going to continue through with those projects and how we can do it safely and with, causing or not causing any damage at all, which is always the goal, right? But I mean, some things are inevitable. Other than that, we haven't seen any other issues, but we have had some areas where we've had to shut down operations completely just because the locals don't have the staff there to manage.
Yeah, Brian, we've had locate issues have been the big one for us, honestly, lately. 811, when this pandemic started, 811 shut down operations completely for a few days, and that backlogged a lot of things. And we've got a job up in Arvada right now that is kind of on hold until we get locates for anchors. We got 9 or 10 anchors to place up there, and we got a lot of responses back from some entities that they would not come locate any utilities unless it was their own utilities anyways, unless it was an emergency. So that's kind of been the sticking point for us as far as the aerial side has just been the locates for the anchors and such. So it's been a holdup. It's been kind of a pain.
Yeah, for us too, a couple municipalities have had some challenges with no one being, there, shortage of workers, similar to what Nathan has said. So yeah, we're feeling that too. And on one side of the coin, we're feeling more work coming at us, but then there's obviously these dependencies that we rely on that if we can't get permits and locates and things like that, the work won't move forward. So it's really interesting. And I know personally keeping me up at night are some of those things, right? You can get a great job and then if you can't get permits, we're hosed, right? So it's been really interesting. And each one of these municipalities, none of them have gone through this. So they're all like us on the fly, figuring out, their protocols and how they're going to deal with it. And each week it's of course changed and we're having to change with them. So, okay, great. Any other comments to that anyone might want to add in? I think we're actually about 9 minutes away from kind of wrapping things up for our first Beer and Broadband. Well, I guess maybe one thing right now would be like, what would be something that you feel like is keeping you up at night, and something you'd like to share with the team that either you might not have the answer for it right now, but and if you do, that's great. If it's something you've encountered that you really want to share with the group that's listening today, or it's something that's not solved and it's something to kind of throw out there for us to talk about as a group, and not sure if we'll solve it either. However, it might be something that's important to us all. So kind of like to go around the room and again, something that's keeping you up at night, that either you've dealt with already, figured out maybe a workable solution that you might want to share, or something you're concerned about. I know I personally have a long list of things in this new environment we're living in, but I'd love to hear from some of the team on that. Who wants to start?
I can start. I've been spending a lot of time thinking about the business strategy of this, because you've got to protect your cash in this time. You're going to have customers pay you late. You're going to have bad debt, a drop in revenue. And that means you have a limit in your ability to do something with your cash. So the decision that I'm thinking about each night and reading about, just article after article after article, is the business strategy of when to jump in and how long to protect that cash, because we find ourselves in a great position. We've grown on cash for all these years. We're not really highly leveraged, and everything I'm reading says make sure you're not leveraged in a time like this. And so we're in a fortunate position. Not everybody is, and in some respects I feel bad for that, right? Like there's a lot of sentiment out there about, I care about people being healthy, and I also care about my friend's business, right? You're seeing a lot of people post out on social media. But there's also the aspect of, and this is what's keeping me up at night, is when to invest and when to be conservative with my cash flow.
Yeah, just to jump in on that and extend, Brian, I think for us, yeah, we've always been bootstrapped as well. So we can only grow as well as we can profit out of the work we do. So even though we're in a fortunate position as a business, one of the things we did do, and it was across the group, was right. What makes sense is there any ways that we can save right now? So if we want to hang on to cash, what discretionary spend can we limit? So we did a few things. Worked tightly with my CFO. One of the first things we did was reach out to everywhere we were leasing an office, and said, "Hey, we're not coming in for 3-6 months. What can you do for us?" And no harm, no foul type thing. We're very grateful for the fact that everywhere they did something. So we immediately had a cost saving in terms of premises. So across 3 or 4 offices, we saved a good chunk of change, essentially like a decent FTE, right? Which is, for me, is an amazing saving, right? Because I'm trying to save jobs, right? Worst case. Beyond that, we looked. So that was one of the quick wins for us. Our business is relatively straightforward in terms of P&L. One of the biggest levers that we have to play with is travel. So that was a no-brainer. Like, travel stopped. So we're already saving money because we're not traveling as much as we used to. Obviously, there's downsides of that, as I said before, but that's a big saving in terms of travel, not jumping on planes, international travel. And the other part that we looked really deeply at was software. We spend a lot of money in terms of the software we use to enable our services and our SaaS product. And we took stock. We did an audit of everything we use. Is it critical? Is it not? Where can we save? And for those that, again, similar to what we did with rent, we actually called up the vendors of our major providers, some of which we spend hundreds of thousands a month, and said, "Hey, can you cut us a deal? Because we're going to use you, but times are interesting, and we're just trying to save money." And again, for the most part, everyone came to the party somehow and gave us a discount for 3 months. Most of the discounts we got for leasing or rent and for software for at least 3 months. So we saved double digits in terms of cost just by those simple things. So we're fortunate enough we haven't had to let people go. And we're in a great position. It's strong, but we felt it was, to your point, how do we, keep tight on the cash? And that was some of the things that we did, just to share. And we did that pretty quickly. Like, there was an imperative, from the board to get onto that. And it wasn't difficult, right? It was literally phoning up the people that we have these things with and saying, "Hey, can you do anything?" And it was great that people came to the party on that. So it worked well for us.
Yeah, that's huge. Paul, we've been doing the same type of thing, and it's been amazing. You're talking to other business leaders, typically, that maybe owns your building or this or that, and everyone's in the same boat. We're all dealing with this, and everyone's trying to figure out how do we help each other, right? Because of course they don't want to lose a tenant that you might have a long-term lease with. or is using your software, you know, because the software, if you can't get a discount, it might just cause you to try to look at something else as a pure cost-saving initiative. So as we all know, it's a lot easier to give someone a price break and keep them as a customer than clearly try to reacquire them later after we've already lost them or they've lost us. So I think you're right. I mean, really just going, we've done the same thing, just going down our absolute, everything that we spend money on. And it's a phone call. Hey guys, we're all dealing with this, trying to figure out how we can kind of reduce our cash flow, work on some different terms. Just curious, and really even what I've done most of the time is ask them, what have you guys done for others, right? I'm calling and I'm just trying to figure it out, and we're just trying to do the best we can to hold on to our cash, obviously, through this time. So I think that is a huge aspect, and I've been very thankful for the extreme openness on the other side of the table. It has not been a difficult thing to do at all. Call and ask, right? And do it, like you said, immediately. We're not sure how long this is going to go. There's a lot of uncertainty out there, and cash is king.
I know we're not almost out of time, but the uncertainty you just talked about, that's something that I'm thinking about too, right? What can we talk about? Because we can't talk about sports. We can't talk about what we're doing this weekend, right? We can't talk about what we ate out at dinner last night. So there's a need to focus everyone on the positives, right? And that comes back to the storytelling I talked about earlier, but it's something I think about at night. What can we talk about tomorrow?
Absolutely. I think for one thing for Bonfire is we've always tried to run a very transparent organization. We rely on all our business leaders to help make wise decisions of the company. I certainly do not want to make them all myself, and will never scale if I have to make them all myself. So it is really about putting a lot back out on the other leaders of the company, as well as individuals, right? We've had some of our best ideas come from individuals. Not even a business leader within the group. So I think having that open and communication and putting the challenges that are out there right out, you know, to the team and asking them for help and ideas is probably one of the best things you can possibly do for your organization. Because if you've done a good job in hiring, then you should pat yourself on the back, because you have an amazing team that can provide a lot of value outside of what they normally been doing, right? We're all working through this together. We've had people step up to show us how to make, you know, do-it-yourself PPE, right? It's not like we can all just put an order in and get a bunch of gloves and masks delivered. That's not going to happen. So what are you doing to work around it? We've asked our team, you know, what ideas? People have come to the table with all kinds of amazing ideas. You know, and it's just like what Paul was saying, if you don't ask for a discount on a service, you're never going to get it. So do the same thing with your employees. Ask them for help, right? Ask them to contribute, especially the frontliners, right? That are out there with the customers every single day, working with partners. Ask them what they think, because they are thinking about it every day, just like we are as leaders. So we've got to make sure we bridge that gap. Keep things very open. And you get some of your best ideas from leveraging, obviously, your team and keeping that open environment. So I guess with that, I just want to kind of bring this thing to a close. This has been awesome. I really appreciate all of you guys. Some great conversation today. This has been a great inaugural beer and broadband discussion. I hope to continue these, and we're going to make this recording available out there, so we'll share it. And I again really do appreciate all your time and participation. I know everyone's extremely busy these days, which we're all thankful for and very humbled. And with that, I'll close today's session. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, everyone have a great day. We'll see y'all.